My name is Musa Kalenga. I am involved in 3 businesses actually. I'm the founder and CEO of Bridge Labs, which is a technology business. And we build technology for what we refer to as the digitally invisible, which is the long tail of most industries. I'm also the Chief Future Officer of a business called the House of Brave, which effectively is a creative business. So we make ads and create amazing corporate communications. And I'm a founder and investor in a podcast called the African Tech Roundup, which is all about telling the stories of the African ecosystem of investment and technology. Well, there's a lot to be considered when you think about innovation, because I think depending on what industry and what business you are, that has very different expressions in the way people get things done within an organization. But there are some fundamental principles that help for organizations to create a culture of innovation, but also to encourage people to do that as part of what they do and not as an additional thing. In my view, some successful organizations that have been able to get this right, have been able to lead from the top. So the executive teams and the senior managers have to be seen to adopt a level of innovation and an understanding of what that comes with, because innovation, as much as we all love it, comes with a lot of pain sometimes. It comes with a lot of mistakes, and it also comes with the ability to be able to bounce back and move from the place where you've been able to do some things wrong. So I think the culture that's being able to be led from the top is very important. The second thing is being able to take ideas and turn them into something very quickly. So organizations obviously are full of people that are bubbling under with lots of creative ideas. They're interacting at the coalface with the clients all the time. They're playing with technology every day. And so as they do that, it's important that when the ideas do get brought to light, that you're able to create something or take it to market or create a minimum product that people can start to tinker with and start to understand whether it serves a purpose. And if you can create a system or a business division that isn't able to do that, it creates an ability for people to believe that the things that they think about can actually see the light of day. And then I think the last thing is in being able to lead from the top and being able to create an environment where people can see stuff materialize, you also need to be able to incentivize innovation. I think people are driven very selfishly sometimes by risk and reward, and I think the rewards that are surrounded by people doing things differently, thinking about problems differently, and solving core challenges, there needs to be a construct in which you reward and you recognize people for doing that kind of thing. Social media has fundamentally changed the way entrepreneurs operate and the way we realize value, because it's difficult to argue that if you want to access a person, information or insight, that you can't do so with the device that's in your palm of your hand. A futurist that I love to follow called Maurice Conti argues that we're already augmented beings, because if you're at a party and you want to know something, you actually look at your phone to be able to get the information. And a number of times social media becomes that source. And with social media becoming that source, entrepreneurs are able to learn things in a far reduced time. They're able to understand learnings from different parts of the world about potential problems they're trying to solve. They're able to share ideas. They're able to test certain theories on an open and unsolicited platform where people can give them honest feedback. And so all of these things make it a lot easier for entrepreneurs to start connecting, but also for them to have a very global view on some of the problems that they solve. But I think in that process there's also a lot of education that's required. When you talk about fake news and the amount of information out there that can be potentially misleading, it's an important thing for us to temper that excitement with the reality of maturity in these platforms for entrepreneurs that are looking to find value in them. I think the first and most important thing is research, so the ability to gather insight and test ideas without spending a lot of money. I think a lot of entrepreneurs now that are being smart about online platforms can crowdsource the intelligence that informs new products, can crowdsource intelligence that informs service propositions, and they can do that at a very low cost. And so the research process is really important in any entrepreneur's life when they're thinking about creating value. The second thing is in being able to communicate. I think the beauty of the world that we live in today, it's now very possible to have an architect that lives in Paris, to have someone that's doing your financing that's in the US and San Francisco, and have someone else that's designing your artifacts and your clothing that lives in Abuja, because of the world that we live in and because of social media. And I think the ability to communicate across global lines and to be able to do so in real time towards solving problems is another way that entrepreneurs can crowdsource the best talent to solve the problems that they're facing. So research is important, global communication is also important, but last but not least, I think remaining plugged in. You know, it's very, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you get very much into your business and into your lane, and you put your head down and you just go. And what you're able to do is kind of take a bit of a step back sometimes and reflect on what's happening and have a big picture around the industry or the problem that you're trying to solve. And I think that's a really valuable thing that social media enables us to be able to do. entrepreneurs are value seekers, so they're always going to be trying to find ways to be better, to be more efficient. So what I think the Internet of Things and exponential technology really does is it allows an ability to think very differently about scale and about reach. If you get it right and you understand how technology converges and you understand some of the problems it solves, as an entrepreneur you can really start to elevate the way you think about solutions. The challenge with IoT and with exponential technologies is that there's some very fundamental things that need to be in place with entrepreneurs. As an example, the appreciation and the understanding of a data strategy in your organization. So as a small business, how much time are you spending thinking about the data you're gathering and where that data is housed, what kind of enterprise software supports that data, and those are more fundamental questions that lead you into understanding IoT and the benefit of exponential technology. I'm always the fan of saying that the human problems and the things we define actually should dictate what technology we use. So when people start to get very excited about IoT and exponential tech, I always temper that excitement with the knowledge and the understanding that there's some very key steps that need to be taken first, A, and you need to be very clear about defining the problem you're solving, B, to be able to have those things actually work the way they should be working.